So, I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you help others? So it was really a turning point for me to know that I have to take better care of myself.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer. With me today is Sara Jayne. She's always been more naturally minded, but a panic in 2015 sent her into a tailspin. So she knew she needed a drastic change, so she found a therapist who helped her transform her life and has been on a mission ever since. You guys are going to love this stuff because she really aligns with what we teach and preach and proclaim here. She's helped people live their best lives. She's a chiropractor, which we love. We love our chiropractors. Wellness advocate. Has helped thousands of others get back on their feet through nutrition, cleaner products, a mastered mindset. She enjoys being able to help patients that walk through her office but wanted to reach a larger audience and started a podcast. Write this down, folks. Her podcast is, I think you want to check it out just because of the title, Fast Lane with Sara Jayne. She started that in 2020. Want to check that out when I get a chance as well. But welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great to be here. And it's great because when you do a little research on who you're going to talk to, and when I research you, I was pretty excited because you empower people, and people who try to help other people or make other people better are my kind of people.
Yeah. So what was you know, I don't know what that panic in 2015 was. Before we started recording, I told you I had a little bit of my own around the same time, but what was yours?
I had a panic attack,
Okay.
and I had never had a panic attack before. And so I woke up in the middle of the night having this panic attack, and I didn't know what was going on. My husband didn't know what was going on. And if anyone's had a panic attack, you know that there's this impending doom. Like, you don't feel like you're going to make it. And this is the end. You don't know why or you don't know what. And so the emergency room, or, the ambulance takes me to the emergency room. I got two little boys at the time. And we go through everything, and the doctor says, "Have you ever had a panic attack before?" And my first thought was, no, like, I don't have panic attacks, right? And I said, no. And he said, "You're having a panic attack. The CT scan is fine." And he's going on and on. And my husband, I mean, he doesn't love this story, right? Because it was not a great day for anyone, but he was crying beside the bed because we didn't know what was going on. And he's like, "Nothing can happen to you. Like, you're the healthy one. This isn't the way it's supposed to be." And I was like, "Yeah," and I said, "But I'm not gonna do what he said." And he said, "Yes, you are." And I said, "I'm not gonna go on." I think there was five medications, and I should try to go back into my chart to see. There was four for sure, but possibly five that he wanted me to go on. And my husband said, "We can't do this again. This cannot be a normal thing." And I said, "I know, but if I take these medications, it's like putting a Band-Aid on it. I have to figure out why I have this problem." And it's funny because when I opened my chiropractic office, so in 2011 is when I was starting to get it all rolling. In 2012, I said chiropractic and wellness. And I remember my husband asking me, "Why are you saying and wellness?" And I said, "Because I want to do more than chiropractic." And in 2015 was really the switch that flipped. And it's too bad that it took an event. And I know that you said that you had had an event too. Fortunately, my event was not like, some people will get in a very serious accident or have a heart attack or, a stroke and come back from these things, which are way more serious than what I went through. So I'm fortunate that that is all it was, but it was a big turning point in my life to really dive into the wellness part of things. And I had already been doing some supplements in my office and nutrition, but that's when I started taking a lot more classes and digging into it, and involved into a weight loss clinic, just so much more, whatever I can do to try to help people without, spreading myself too thin and not doing a good job at it.
Now, did you have any more symptoms after that, or like what did you do to kind of course correct? I guess is probably a better question.
So I took a little time off of work. So at the
Okay.
time I had a 4-year old and a 2-year old. Maybe he wasn't even two yet. So I mean, three and one. So it's funny and it's sad how we lose ourselves because we get so busy.
Hmm.
So you go to work and you're a parent and you're a spouse and you're all of these things, but you definitely put yourself at the bottom of the barrel. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't put other people first, right? Because I think it's important to have empathy and help people, but I'm the foundation, and if the foundation crumbles, we're in trouble, right? And so I like to tell my patients that too. Like they'll come in and they're in so much pain, and I'm like, you take care of your family. So I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you help others? So it was really a turning point for me to know that I have to take better care of myself. So it must have taken me a little while though, because I know I didn't, now that I'm saying this. I didn't start therapy until the following year. And I had done different therapy in the past, and it wasn't anything wild. Um, I know I went for a little while in high school, and I woke up one day, I'm like, I don't need to talk to that lady anymore. And it was just talking, right? Like there was, she didn't medicate me or it wasn't anything crazy. And then I saw another lady for a while, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting anything out of this. And so after the panic attack, I struggled probably for a good 10, 11 months. And then I was sitting in my closet one morning and it was really early. And I had called my best friend, and my husband had already left for work because he has erratic hours or long hours. And I'm crying. And she said, I think you need to talk to someone else. I think you need to talk to like a professional. And so one of my other close friends, I asked her, do you know of anyone? Because she lived in the same town, and she recommended someone who really aligned with my values. So I really dove deep into myself, and I got good at setting boundaries and being respectful and not demanding, but yet nicely demanding. Like, this is the way it's going to be. Like I wasn't rude, I wasn't bad. And I think it was more difficult for my mom. And she would even say, well, I don't know why you think that way. And I don't know why you feel that way. And and so I would bring that back to my therapist, and he's like, she doesn't need to, she doesn't need to understand. You're breaking the mold. You know. So have I had a panic attack since then? Yeah, I've had like little ones where I felt like they're coming on, but I can talk myself out of it. And then I realize, oh yeah, well, it's been a little hectic, but it's not something that I have to deal with on a regular basis. So cleaning up my diet, exercising on a regular basis, um, I do take a lot of supplements because we don't get some of that nutrition in food. And, people will say, oh, it's a waste of money. Well, yeah, if you're buying it at the dollar store up the street, absolutely it's a waste of money. So don't take that. And then that's another thing, because I will tell people, if that's what you're going to take, I'd rather you just not take anything. And they're like, what? I'm like, just don't waste your money. Like, that's not helping you. So, um, but the mindset part of it was a big deal. And it's come to the point where I had to just really not care, um, in a nice way, what other people thought or felt or did, because I had to realize that whatever they did or said wasn't my problem. And if they didn't like something I did or something I said, again, that's not my problem, because I have to do what's best for myself and I have to do what's best for my family. And it kind of sounds cold, but you just can only bend over so much backwards for everyone else until you crack. And I cracked. And I'm really good now with saying no. And people know that about me. Like they really don't expect from me probably what they used to.
Yeah, and I thank you for the transparency. I appreciate you saying that because I know there are a lot of people that listen to this and watch this that need to hear that over and over and over again. Uh, because as you, especially when you own a business and are kind of that higher level and achieve like higher kind of performance and things like that, I feel like those things just naturally need to happen for you to stay at a higher level. I'm interested in what you think. I'm interested in picking your brain on quite a few things. So uh, let's start with one of the things that I hear as well. Like, why would you take all those things, all those supplements? There as you in your practice, are there things that you have that are kind of like the mainstay of your practice that are basic foundation things? What would you recommend?
Absolutely. So if someone comes in and says, I just want to start a regimen and be healthier, so I would recommend the things that, and I do take all these things every day, a good multivitamin,
Mm-hmm.
a fish oil,
Mm-hmm.
a probiotic.
Mm-hmm.
I take D3 with K2,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will take a functional food. So, and I will vary on which I take. Sometimes I take one for inflammation, sometimes I take one for my gut, sometimes I take one for detox. And then we have fruits and greens in our office, which are 20 servings of fruits and vegetables in a scoop. Okay, no one is eating 20 servings of fruits and vegetables in a day, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
are they in a week? Probably not. And if they are they in a can? Like what's the quality of it?
Yeah,
So that is the stuff. And I do take other stuff on top of that, but that is like the foundation, the Fab Five that I would tell people to start with.
I like it. Yeah.
And it's easy. And the thing is I have found that when people, especially it's January, and well, now we're almost at the end of January. So people are stopping. They're healthy, right? Because right away we're going to be healthy. But if the first, we don't go back to work until the third or yeah, that's a Thursday. So we better wait till Monday. And so now it's the 6th and we're starting our healthy habits. But now we're just going to eat lettuce and drink all this water. And then on Friday, now we're going to eat pizza because, well, we've been good all week and we'll get back to it on Monday. And they fizzle out because we try to make too many changes at one time and then we set unrealistic expectations. So I tell people with the Fab Five, it's easy to incorporate into your day. I mean, if you have to do one shake a day,
Yeah.
okay, you can do it.
Go over those one more time, please.
Fish oil,
Yep.
probiotic.
Yep.
I take D3.
Yep.
I take D3 with K2,
With K2. Yep.
multivitamin.
Yep.
And then I rotate with a functional food and the fruits and greens. That's the Fab Five. I mean, obviously, I'm a 43-year-old woman, so I'm taking collagen and there's other stuff that I'm going to supplement, but just for basic people, that's what I'm recommending. And the funny thing is to me, not funny, and I don't want to say sad,
Mhm.
but when I see people come in who have a lot of chronic pain, and I'm not saying this is someone that I've known forever. Let's say someone I just met and there's bad knees or there's chronic pain and they're maybe overweight. I am more than happy to meet the people where they are and help them from where they are, right? But people are so used to not feeling well and just chalk it up to, well, I'm getting older, but
Yeah.
I'm getting older. And I just don't like that because, yes, you're getting older, but what are your last years going to be like? And that's probably, it sounds dramatic, but I watched this video and it shows a man, it's the same man, and they have him walking and hanging out with his family and hanging out with his grandkids, and then they have the same man in a wheelchair on oxygen, and it's saying, the choices that you make they're gonna catch up with you. Like, how do you want this to play out? And I just don't think that people think about the long run when it comes to that. Like you need to do something today. Like if you are listening today, you need to talk to your chiropractor, your medical doctor, whoever that you trust to even give you one thing that you think is going to make you better in the long run. If anything you're going to take on those things that I gave you, I would probably say fish oil. That's good for your brain, your hair, your skin, your vessels, your joints, because how many people have arthritis? And around here, oh, it's just Arthur. It's hard to get up, but it's just Arthur. Like we just old Uncle Arthur, we just embrace him. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't like it either. I mean, that's what really sent me in a tailspin about the same time, probably about a year earlier than your episode. I just had unbelievable chronic pain. Unbelievable. And that's when, and I was fairly healthy, and I went and got checked out. Like I was able, I was part of a group where I just like carte blanche into some of the biggest, medical facilities in our country. I got into Cleveland Clinic within a week and had a whole doctor, like an executive kind of health check and x-rays, blood, all this. And they, up until that time I'd been going to other doctors and gotten, like you probably have MS, these are some big things that, when I was in my early 40s, right? Let me do the math on that, or maybe even before that. Uh, yeah, so I would have been late 30s, early 40s, and the doctor herself called me back, and she was like one of the best in the nation at what she does. She's like, I know you have all this pain. I won't deny it, but on paper you look absolutely healthy and normal. And she said, one of the things she said, she's like, have you tried cutting out sugar? And did you look at and anything? And it was actually, I came back, it was actually the nurse practitioner who saw, like everybody missed it, who saw how deficient I was in vitamin D. And
Wow.
within 2 weeks, the symptoms were almost gone.
So what did you have to dose that? Was it super high dose there for a while?
Uh, yeah, with the vitamin D, understanding when I got off sugar too. Okay, because I didn't even realize. I think some people, like, I thought I was eating healthy. Yeah, one of the things I love is ketchup. Oh my goodness, it's just, you
Filled
might
with
as
sugar.
well just eat sugar. Like
No.
I don't even eat it anymore. But I that's what I love. I remember going to the refrigerator and going, oh my goodness, can't believe everything. You used to start your morning out with sugar because you put this creamer, it's just a sugar bomb.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was so, to the point I felt, to your point as well. I was so felt so decrepit, right? And then when you get diagnosed like that, and they want you to go on all that medication and all that, like, one of the first things they thought was rheumatoid arthritis, and the prescriptions that come with that just destroy my gut.
So bad. Hmm.
And I'm just like, oh, I can't, like, I just didn't want to live. Like, it was so bad. And
Hmm.
to your point, we just get used to. We don't know how great we can feel. Yeah,
Hmm.
I got a what was that? 4 years ago, I went in and got an examination for life insurance policy. You know, and I I'm actually healthier than I was in my 20s because I got
Isn't that crazy?
it. But just that flip of that switch. I'm saying all that to get back to your point. We just don't know, like,
No.
what. Yeah, obviously we don't want to eat trash, which we'll talk about next. Okay, but like adding those things, and I said yep to all those because I do all those. I'm like, yep, yep, yeah. I have the fish oil, I have the krill oil, I have the probiotic. I do the D every day. I have a multivitamin, um, and getting all that stuff in is very important because we don't. And I eat better than most people too. And it's like, well, what do these people know? And just looking at the stats, like if you go back with COVID, looking at all the people, and I'm not saying this is the end all be all silver bullet, but when you look at all the people that struggled with that, especially the deaths, very
Yeah.
very low in vitamin D,
Yeah.
things of that nature. And there's been a lot of research on it, and I don't want to get into that because I don't. Maybe you know it better, but it fascinates me that we don't know that, and what a little bit of that, because especially with vitamin D, because some of those capsules are so tiny, it's just like. But also
Hmm.
getting into the sun, like
Hmm.
we stay in our offices. Right
Hmm.
now, I mean, it's hard. Like, we were talking about the temperature where you're at in North Dakota. I mean, the other day it was negative 18 here. It was like not a lot of people want to go outside and do things.
Right.
I mean, it's colder there.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
but
need to supplement.
yeah,
You need because the sun has enormous healing properties, and being outside is so important. And I'm one of those people that I take my shoes off when I golf because
Yes.
I want to feel grounded. But then I also now need to take a couple detox pills because, they spray the grass. It's difficult because the people who do not take supplements often, or the people who do not exercise, the people who do not practice more of a healthy lifestyle will look at the people that live a healthy lifestyle, and sometimes there's a little animosity there. Like they get a little spicy about it. But I want, if you're one of those people who I'm assuming the people who probably listen to your podcast are a little more on the healthy side, but let's pretend you're not. Don't feel that way because no one who takes vitamins and exercises thinks they're better than anyone else. It's just that we figured out this is how we feel better. And it's hard to make changes. But if you don't know, you can't change it, right? You can't do better until you know better. And so that's why it's so important to constantly learn and figure out new things because you become stagnant. Who wants to become stagnant? No one. You want to just, climb in life and then you hit this plateau and you're just going to keep on this plateau for the rest of it? Absolutely not. That's just not the way it is. So people need to just start slow and start small, and then when they start to notice a difference, they're gonna get excited about it. And then you'll talk to someone who, let's say, will be going to a chiropractor and they say, well, I haven't noticed any difference. Maybe you just need to try a different chiropractor, because there's different things that I just have a hard time believing you can't feel better in some area of your life with a change. And
Mm-hmm.
if one change doesn't work, well, then you're just going to have to find another one. You just can't settle and think, well, that didn't work, so I'm not going to try anything else. That's such a sad way to live.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Hey everyone, Caleb Kolb here with AMP Adventures. Today we are out in Glacier National Park in Montana. We're just a couple miles south of Canada. There's some beautiful views here. This is Kinnerly Peak, Kitla Peak, and Mount Peabody. So it's been a great trip so far. If you're interested on any of our adventures, check out the Experiences tab. See you on the trail.
Let's jump into another subject though, because I want to get your opinion on this too. Because we talked a little bit about diet. I told you a little bit about my story.
Mhm.
For the people listening, like again, little steps. You already said it, so everybody listening, she already said it. Like little steps. What little steps can we make with cleaning up our diet, or what should we look at first?
I think an easy one for people would be to stop their sugary coffee because have you seen the lines at some of those places? There's no way, and I like coffee. I do, I like tea. There is zero chance I am sitting in a line of 12 cars to get a coffee. And whenever we drive by, God bless the people that live with me because this is how we are. Again, not that I don't ever have that, okay? That's another thing. Like,
Yeah.
don't ever think, oh, I am so clean, everything. Absolutely not. Have I had that? Yes. Do I have that? Yes. Do I have it daily? No. But I will drive by and I'll be like, well, that is what addiction looks like. Because if you're sitting in a line that long, I think you're addicted. But it's I don't want people to go home and throw everything out. And some people will do that and that's fine. And with my weight loss clinic, we go through that and people will. They'll send me a picture of all this stuff that they're throwing out. And is that a good thing to do? Well, yeah, I mean, if that's good for you, that's what you need to do. Other people will say, but I paid for this and it's like I'm throwing my money away. Okay, well, we're throwing money away, we're throwing health away. I don't know. Again, I like to make sure that I meet people where they are because if we tell people what to do, they usually don't do it. But if we educate people on why they should do it, it's usually much better. But if a person would journal, again, this is difficult. If you
Mm-hmm.
write down what you eat in a day and then you look at it and you're looking at things like Doritos and Coke, and then you got your Starbucks. And I know that people are like, oh, but I just did that once this week. I just only had Doritos once this week. I only had Starbucks once this week. Yeah, but you do it every single week. Like, I get it, everything in moderation. But that's not moderation if we're doing it all the time. So I think it's really important to journal because if you write down what you're putting in your mouth and then you go back and look at it, it can be a rude awakening. And then you need to eliminate. Okay, I shouldn't be eating Doritos anymore because it literally has cancer-causing chemicals in them. So I don't I don't know. If is that enough? Is that enough for you to stop eating the Doritos? But go through, start eliminating, and start adding fresh food. And I was just talking about this with my son this morning because he was talking about school lunch. So he was asking if school lunch is processed. And so I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Well, because we're gluten free. We have to be gluten free. I have celiac. I've gene tested my three children. They all have, they're all susceptible to it. So all of us are gluten free." He's like, "Well, they take our buns out of a plastic bag," and he's going on and on. And I said, "Okay, so do you think it's processed?" And he's like, "It sounds like it's all processed." Right. So like if it doesn't come from the earth or it's not but it's important, I think, for kids to learn that too, because when we raise kids not knowing any better, that's what they're going to do in the long run.
Hmm.
And, as an adult, people will tell you it's hard to lose weight.
Yeah.
Well, if we're obese as a child and then we carry that in, it's not going to make it any easier.
Right. That's
And
right.
remember, I'm not judging because, and we talk about this at our house all the time. And actually, one of my children apparently called a girl fat at school. I was appalled. I was so upset because I'm thinking, we have a weight loss clinic. Like, we do not call people fat. Like, we don't call people fat at home. Like, we call our cats fat, right? Like, we talk about them being fat all the time, but we don't talk about people being fat ever. And I even went into the principal because I thought, man, that doesn't look good on us. And I said, I just want you to know we do not talk like that. So, and I mean, it was really an innocent kid thing, right? He wasn't being malicious. But we've had discussions too because my kids will make comments about what other kids at school are eating. And I will remind them, it's not like, that is not our job to be watching and judging what they're eating. Because if that's what their mom and dad sent them, then that's what they have in their home. Like, we do things differently. So it's not for us to judge, but as adults, like that's what we're supposed to do now is educate and hopefully make people live better, do better, be better.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's where it all started for me, and I think people really need to hear that as well. I mean,
And you
and
cut
I
out sugar. And like people do not know. If you look in a label, sugar is like in everything and sugar is the devil. Like I don't even like it's so bad for you. I was just watching a video and it was talking about how sugar, suppresses your immune system so much. So when you talk about viruses and infections and then you talk about like cancer, and that's one thing that is difficult for me. My dad was in the hospital at one time and with a heart issue. And I looked at his meal and he had pancakes, and my dad could not have, he probably could have put a straw in syrup because that's how much he likes syrup. There's syrup all over the plate. He has a cookie there and a juice. And I'm looking at this and I said, Who whose was this? Because I'm thinking, was this my mom's? And he's like, it was my breakfast. You're in here for a heart issue and they're giving you pancakes with a gallon of like it makes it so difficult because we don't know that by now, or like people who have cancer, we don't know that sugar is feeding that. We don't
Mhm.
know that we need to eat fats to help. Like but you can't yell because you can't do better until you know better. But I
Mhm.
would just think that when you're in a hospital, they shouldn't maybe be giving you that when you're in there with heart disease.
Yeah.
But I'm not a specialist in that. Maybe I'm wrong, Eric. Maybe I'm on the wrong track. But it's different. So when it's different, then you're weird.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
and,
Oh yeah.
and I've had to, and I let my kids know that before they even went to school. I said, everyone's going to have their own opinion. So if they don't like your hair, they don't like your lunch, they don't like whatever, it doesn't matter because it's not theirs. So I think it's really important for us to remember that we need to do what's best for us. But as soon as you go against the grain, let's say you go to an event and there's a thing of Doritos and there's a thing of carrots, and you're sitting there eating the carrots. Um, or if you choose not to eat the different food is there, you're the weird one because you're not eating. And it's like, you guys, it's a battle.
Yeah. Well, we can see you're passionate about it. Thanks for shooting straight with us. I appreciate that. I mean, I could talk all day with you about things, but would you be interested in coming back so we could get into some other things as well? Maybe some exercise, mindset. Could we do that? Have you back on
Absolutely.
in a few
Yeah, and then
episodes?
you'll probably want to tell me to keep on track because once I start talking, it's sometimes difficult, right? It's like, okay, land the plane, Sarah.
No, I mean, this is good. I mean, I wrote good tactical stuff for people to be doing. Like, so
Yeah.
I think we stayed on track. I could get really excited. I could see sitting around with you for hours talking about this and preaching to one another. But I appreciate somebody else out there doing it. I appreciate what you're doing, trying to help people. How do people actually get in touch with you before we forget to do that? What's the best
I
way?
have a website, so you can go to drsarahkcw.com. You can email me on there, or you can see um, I have some of my favorite things on there. My supplements that I like are on there. Otherwise, on social media, it's Klein Chiropractic and Wellness. And that is, I do have a Fast Lane with Sarah Jane page, and I kind of took a hiatus from the podcast. So if anyone listens to the podcast, and if you listen to the podcast, I really just started talking to people I wanted to talk to. So I had like a mystery author on, and I was just kind of having fun with it. So I'm just getting back into that because sitting and talking to people and learning from people is very exciting. Um, so I just kind of had fun with it. And some of them, and I'm sure maybe you can say this, some of them are a little more boring for people because there's more educational information. And so,
Mhm.
like for those podcasts, I have to listen in chunks because it's too much for me to digest at one time. So, but something should be applicable to someone in each episode.
Well, I mean, if you didn't get anything out of today, I mean, I've got notes right here, and I kind of had an idea what you were going to talk about, and I still have a lot of notes. But last question that we had, of course, that we ask everybody because the podcast is called Your Best Day Yet. How would you describe your best day?
My favorite days in life are when we are on vacation. And it's because I love like the feeling of an adventure. I get so excited. So if I know we're going on vacation, I already know what it feels like that we're going to get up in the morning and we make our coffee and we get in the car and what are we going to see today? I get such a natural high of knowing that I'm going to see and do something different and then my kids get to see and do something different. Those are my best days. And I kind of marinated on that because I thought, I probably should say something a little more benign, like that happens more frequently. But I live for that excitement of it's usually when I'm in nature, when you go out and you're out in the mountains and it's like, oh, look, it's just inspiring.
Good stuff. Great answer. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. Folks, that's all for today. Really appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, you got some good notes to take, or even just some encouragement and validation. I know some of you, this is a big topic for a lot of you that listen to this because I get people that pull me aside quite a bit and ask, what do you eat? What are you doing? All that stuff. So next time, Sarah Jane, let's talk. Let's maybe go in. I'm going to make a note here to go into exercise and mindset and things of that nature as well. But appreciate having you on. Love to have you back. But folks, if you want more information, you can check us out at centerforvictory.com. And just remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.